painting a picture with writing. In other words, painting pictures with our descriptions. Hello and welcome back to my writing journey. I'm Ellen Byerrum, author of Crook Tales for Two and The Crime of Fashion Mysteries. Before we jump into today's topic, I have an announcement. Crook Tales for Two is available to order in trade paperback. I'm ordering my copies today and I think you can see them on the screen. Last week, I discussed the importance of dressing our characters in our books to reveal things about their character, their socioeconomic background, interests, and more. But there are so many more ways to paint a picture of our heroes and villains and the supporting cast than simply through clothing. And I love clothing, but there's more. The writer chooses the paint palette, so to speak. Are your characters gray and beige, dropping out of sight? Or are they bold and seem to be in Technicolor and possibly in danger of driving other characters off the stage, hiding around every page to reappear? Even small characters can have a large impact through what they say and how they express themselves non-verbally. They can add spice to the scene, or they can be too much of a good thing. We can probably all think of someone on the street who made us turn and contemplate them, their attitude, or their clothing, or lack of clothing. I've heard they may be hanging out at Walmart. And there is danger to spending all of your descriptive capital on the main character. You are placing them in a world of your creation, and you shouldn't forget the smaller characters. The whole thing should be fulsome. I used to see plays where the main character of one particular author was obviously a stand-in for the playwright. This character had all the funny lines, all the good dialogue, all the action, and the other characters served merely to tell everybody how fabulous the main player was, and to adore that character, to spin around her as planets in her solar system. The playwright didn't really want to share the stage and fill out the rest of the cast. But those small players in your books and in your plays can have a lot of impact. For instance, I saw a production of Lady Windermere's Fan some years ago in Washington. The character of Agatha is only given one line, "Yes, Mama." But she says it over and over and over. Her job was to be reactive, but the actor was able to make her very funny. "Yes, Mama." "Yes, Mama." "Yes, Mama," depending on where it fell in the script. The genius was in her delivery. But in our novels, we can't have actors to help the reader imagine it. In our books, we must make them stand out in a way that is not distracting. If words are well crafted, you might remember them forever. Many years ago, I read a letter to the editor of a small Vermont paper, the spirit of which has stayed with me. Although this is not a direct quote. The writer complained about bleeding heart liberals who drive rattletrap old Volvos held together with Bernie Sanders bumper stickers. It made me laugh, and it made me remember that was a letter writer who could master a turn of phrase, whether you agreed with him or not. And just the other day, that letter came to mind because I noticed a car in the Goodwill parking lot that was practically covered in bumper stickers, from the back doors to the trunk to the bumper, which revealed the owner's politics, affection for goth girls, and belief in Bigfoot. I didn't see the car's owner, but I appreciated the excursion into her beliefs and philosophy and the places she'd visited. The car was a rolling personal journal, as well as a fascinating excursion into her history and philosophy. How we describe people, places, and things is connected with our personal writing style, our experience, and how you view others through your lens. Our lens. I have a few examples of character inspiration and how I might use it as a springboard to write about a similar character. You can find these people everywhere. You merely have to slow down and observe them. The other day I met a waiter who was so cheerful and attentive, but there was something about her that seemed so sad, and this sentence simply occurred to me. She looked like she lived at the corner of 38th and Desperation, and as if waking up every day was an act of courage. I may use her someday in a book. About 20 years ago, I used to see a man on the subway every few days, a man wearing a wooden box over his head. Believe me, he stood out in Washington, D.C., where most of the men and plenty of the women wear Brooks Brothers suits. I don't know what his story was, but I can make one up. And so could we all. This is what I came up with. There he was again, Boxhead Man, wearing his carefully constructed wooden contraption over his head, curved to fit his shoulders and attached to his body with leather straps. The wood was not polished, but contained a square cutout revealing an ordinary face. He wore wire-framed glasses and made no eye contact. I wondered, but I had no idea how much the box weighed. Talk about putting a weight on your shoulder. I supposed at the time it was lined with foil to outwit the aliens who were after him. Subway riders glanced at him and looked away. He exited at the Pentagon City stop. You might also be inspired by something on the news, such as this man. He was a walking wanted poster. It's hard to evade the police when your face and neck are completely tattooed to make you look like the fiercest cat in the forest. I'm sure we all have our favorite memories of characters who show up in our books. How we write about them brings them to life. And we may wonder where they came from. Consider keeping a notebook with your own observations and brief descriptions. I do, but then I misplace the notebook. Luckily, the characters are colorful enough that I remember them. That's all I have for today, but I'll see you next week. I hope you see many wonderful characters. Happy writing and reading, and please give this a like. And if you see it on YouTube, please subscribe. It has something to do with the algorithm. Bye.